How are you today, Mr. Jor? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm actually doing very, very well. I was able to get on a cruise recently inside Where Winds Meet. The
Oh, you got
40,000.
in the $40,000 ship?
I was playing solo and I got this notification the ship is being built. And then, yeah, you go into this online realm and it was not worth it. So whoever spent that money.
Jor is a high roller. He got on the $40,000 ship and hated it. Wow. What a
It's
bougie
crazy
man.
because and it immediately showed to me why I hate online experiences with like randos because you had like guys like come on with the come duel then because you can do like
Just spamming it.
activities on the ship. People were shooting fireworks. But there is one cool thing, like it's so well thought of. It's kind of wild that basically they're kind of bringing, for example, a Las Vegas experience into a game. Like for the people that have a ton of money, they can get the table,
Just straight
the
up
drinks,
gamble
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they still need a full club, so they will have the other people get like a cheap ticket, so it's not like an empty club. But you can basically on that ship also buy or dress up and use the outfits that the other person bought. So if they basically bought the whole shop from the game, all the microtransactions on that ship, you as a player can dress up and see those things on your character. It's kind of wild. Like it's really well done, and the crazy, I mean, well done as in smart of them in the business sense. And it's kind of crazy that people are actually happy about the whales in this game. Usually it's like, why would you spend that? But the what I'm all seeing online is like, whoa, thank you for spending this money so I can enjoy all the content for free. It's a weird experience, but I'm kind of scared for what this means for the future.
Well, it's what we've talked about a number of times actually is that I really think it's probably getting the attention of some of these other companies who are like,
Oh yeah.
should we try the free to play thing? I don't think anybody will be able to stop though. Like they have the $40,000 ship, and you better believe that if like EA or Ubisoft were to try it, they would also have like the crazy loot packs. Like they would monetize the crap out of it. And because it's free to play, you can't complain that much. That's at least the idea behind it. But man,
It's like, and they don't even have to be gacha because so the ship is gacha and that's why it's 40,000. So you have to basically like gamble a lot, and if you they have like a pity, so at one point you will get the item you're looking for, and then you have to repeat that, and then in the end you get the schematics and can build the ship. But they even have mounts, so. For example, in other games, you buy a cosmetic, you buy a mount, and that's it. But no, these mounts have upgrades, so you can get like you can spend way more money, and to get all these cosmetic upgrades for people that played, for example, a Genshin Impact, you also know if you get basically gamble for a character, you got the character, but they also have upgrades. So if you then get the character again through the gamble gacha system, then you get like an upgrade and a percentage increase to an ability or something.
or
And they
like,
have that for mounts as well. It's
yeah,
crazy. So you can spend a ton of money on one particular cosmetic.
yeah, like so for the dog mounts, for example, you they are like for this one, they have huskies. They have huskies. I'll put it on screen. And you can buy this for like I think it's $6 or $7 to get one of the husky dogs, and it's a mount that makes you go faster, but you'll see the animation that plays out when you have them. It just they yank you and pull you faster as you're being tugged
Yes.
along. So you're moving the same speed as somebody on a horse, but it's just a different visual presentation. But if you buy the base mount, it's just one of these dogs, and then you can buy the upgraded one for 2 of the dogs or 3 of the dogs. And for the geese, it's the same thing where you can buy one goose that you stand on, or you can buy like a flock of 5 of them, and as you stand on them, they all run with you in the pack. So they have different, like Jor said, tiers of mounts and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and this is just cosmetic, but some of the gacha mount they have right now that is like $800 if you want to get it. That's like unless you're lucky, then you can get it for less. But the chances are like 0.1% or something. It's crazy. So you're probably never gonna get it. But then the added bonus is, oh, you can have a friend join you on the mount. So they do have some interesting, or the mount can do a double jump. So it's not really pay to win, because yeah, you're not beating the boss with that mount or anything. But they are giving some benefits, some gameplay elements to the people that want to spend that
Might
much
be able to
money.
jump
And
across that crack that you couldn't jump before.
yeah, or otherwise you have to walk around or something. But this game also has the flying, you probably have seen, right? If you unlock, like if you reach like far enough into a region, you can just jump into the air and do some very over the top slashes, and you're just cruising around. So they're kind of going crazy. But I think it's kind of crazy that Ubisoft has not done this yet. They've been trying all these battle royale games and been kind of behind the curve on all these titles, and this is basically Assassin's Creed RPG free to play in China.
Yeah.
Obviously it has some extra elements, but it kind of feels like they missed the boat already if they are going to try this now.
I mean, maybe that's what they're waiting for with Jade, is that Jade is basically going to be that game if it ever comes out of hiding. I don't know.
Yeah, but that game I hope they, because that game had like also gacha, but with weapons, and that always felt kind of strange. Like you don't want to be spending 800 for a fire axe or something. It's
Well, and I wonder if that's part of the reason it's been delayed, is to rework that.
Probably.
I'd like to hope that's what it is. Because they did that play test, and it was shortly after that play test that they went silent. So maybe, and I'm not, to be clear, everybody, I don't have like some secret information, but I'm speculating maybe they got feedback that people really didn't like the idea of paying to get better weapons. Imagine that, and they reworked it.
Yeah, they were like, wait, cruise ship? Let's do that. Let's get the
$40,000, you say?
$40,000.
$800 no.
Yeah. Want Cassandra in your game? Yeah, you have to invite her to your 40,000.
You have to do
villa.
polls for each part of Cassandra.
Oh my god.
Then you have to assemble her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I mean, I guess we can get into this. Free Roam Podcast. Here we are, friends, once more. I gotta ask you, Jor, because we have the 2-week break between episodes. A lot's happened. Things have happened. Interestingly,
Dude, we haven't even talked about the best announcement of the year.
yeah, the Horizon mobile game.
No,
Yeah.
don't call it that. It's a PC emulator game.
Yeah, is it on Purple? It's on the platform's called Purple, I think.
But it's interesting. I read like the IGN interview, and they basically have activities for mobile players, so where you just are in this open world and can quickly take out some monsters. But like the raid activities, they are designed for PC because they're likely longer and really require you to have a controller. So it's kind of weird what they're trying here. And it's of course interesting that it's not on PS5. But
That is kind of low-key
dude, they're
hilarious.
shooting themselves in the foot with that other game. That's probably the reason, you would think, right? Because Guerrilla Games, instead of they should have been like, yo, we are just focusing on the single player game and then maybe working on other franchise. You can be NCSoft, you can make the online, but no, they want to do their own live service as well, and that will probably be on PlayStation 5 and PC. So that's why this super cool looking Horizon game, I think it looks awesome.
It is
will
crazy.
Probably not come to PS5.
It is crazy that they have a game in the Horizon universe that is, look, I mean, honestly, and you know me, if it looked bad, I'd be making fun of it. But bro, like the fact that it's not coming to PlayStation is crazy. And I don't know what the excuse would be other than it's because they don't want it to cannibalize the Guerrilla game.
It has to be.
Like, I don't know what else it could possibly be.
But how can you? I mean, Horizon is not a big enough franchise where you can have two games that are constantly like, yo, do your daily logins. Like, that's so weird to me, because you are speaking to the same audience, I think. Unless they're trying to I don't know, be like, okay, we want the Fortnite audience or something with that other game, and they're not gonna. I don't know, man.
The whole strategy behind it seems bizarre, because you'd think, like, if they are roughly similar in terms of like what you're actually doing in the game, they wouldn't greenlight both of them. And so they have to be distinct, probably both visually in terms of art style and in terms of gameplay. but then it's also like, okay, well, then if that's the case, why are you scared of them being on the same platform at the same time? Like, why would you be that worried? Because if, let's just say, like, the Guerrilla game does match that art style that leaked, and it's sort of Fortnite meets Sea of Thieves, and it's a Monster Hunter game, but with like 5-party teams or 5-player teams or 6-player teams, that's fairly distinct and unique. I don't think people would get them confused. But apparently, I don't know of another reason they would keep it off PlayStation unless it was just literally that they're worried that even that will be too similar. I don't know. It's very interesting, but
Yeah, and then one is free and the other not. Or we don't know if they're gonna sell it or whatever. But you would imagine, looking at what Helldivers has done, and Marathon, of course, being $40 probably as well. That has not been announced yet, but they are probably gonna ask money for it as well. So maybe that's the reason. I mean, that's looking at that game, you're like, whoa, that's free. I'm gonna pick the free one, of course. So, but yeah, they're shooting themselves, and this should have been the Horizon Online game, because if I close my eyes and envision an Horizon Online game, I see this game. And they have already some really cool elements that I would love in the third game as well, like small things like carrying a heavy weapon on your mount, bringing it to your next encounter, using the Glinthawk from a tall neck and flying around, and finally having more melee weapons.
the
and
movement
stuff like
looked
that.
really good. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I mean, I saw that and I was like, I get that. And now I'm just left wondering, how do
is the
they
other game?
distinguish the other game? Like, why did they greenlight both of these? Surely they're different, but I'm starting to wonder if they're actually quite similar. And that's why. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, they want that. Yeah, like I the only reason I can think of is that with NCSoft, they're probably revenue sharing somehow, and Sony, of course, wants their own live service successes. And yeah, but you're still probably, I don't know, man. And one game is maybe more for an Asian audience, but it's wild. Like, the franchise is not that big. We already learned that with the Lego game, the VR game, that just didn't do that well. People just want to see the Halo story ended, and maybe one extra game, but not two, I think. Unless the Guerrilla Games is like, we're doing something completely different. We're in space, because that is potentially where the third game is going to, or whatever. And
Yeah.
we're in a completely different area, and this you never thought, or we're doing a game before the
It's Horizon Zero
era-
Dawn, but on the moon.
I don't know. Like, they have to do something different, because it cannot be the same as
Yeah.
the Steel Frontiers.
No, I agree. So all that's happening. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Marathon is, I think, currently having a play test, so they're working on that and continuing to refine that, get it ready for prime time. We should probably, I mean, we're reaching
Game Awards.
Yeah, Game Awards. I think there's probably going to be a trailer at the Game Awards with an
Pre-order
announcement of release
now.
date. Yep.
February is my bet.
I think February. They might shove it out like early January. I'm curious though. What, like, do you think they're going to do what they did with Concord, where they do like a month basically of beta, playtest, launch? Or do you think they learn from Concord, maybe that doesn't work, and they do something where it's like, no playtest, no beta, we just go straight into it? I think they probably have to do a beta, right? Like, just for server testing and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting
also
post Concord.
And also to get that good word of mouth again, because the last taste that people had from that game is not good. So it has to have another, like, I think Arc Raiders, with their the final beta they did before they went dark and launched, was also one that really turned things around. It was also at the same time as Marathon, and you kind of had the two things at the same time. And I think Arc Raiders being super popular and introducing way more people to the extraction genre will probably help Marathon more than it will hurt them. So the ball's really in their court. I think they have to have a successful beta, but I do think I think January beta, open beta, like 20th or something, third week, and then launch a few weeks later.
I
Or-
agree. I think
yeah.
that would work. I think it's also, what I'm most interested, and maybe I'm just like crazy for this, but like in the aftermath of Arc Raiders and the amazing success that they've had, I'm really curious how their marketing strategy and everything has shifted, because things like Prox Chat were seemingly added pretty much exclusively because people found Marathon lacking and people played Arc Raiders and loved the prox chat as a result of that. So I'm curious if they're going to change marketing tactics. Are they going to push for like some really big streamers to play it? Because of course what they want is they want their own burnt peanut. They want their own guy who's making viral clips that are, you know, sort of going meta beyond just the game, and it turns into like, you know, the battle of the bungalators. They want that to happen within their game. Or to be fair, maybe they don't, because they said they didn't want prox chat because of toxicity, and maybe they're worried.
They're gonna add it.
that-
I think there were rumors already that it was added.
Yeah, no,
right?
prox
But,
chat has been, but what I'm saying is they didn't want to add it because they were worried about toxicity. So maybe they don't want like the big streamers, like they're begrudgingly adding prox chat because they feel like they have to. But I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. I think that there is a small sliver of a chance that it finds an audience and could be. I don't think it's enough to keep like a Bungie afloat. It's not a $4 billion game, as far as I can tell. But it's just going to be fascinating to see how it plays after Arc Raiders.
2026 will be fascinating for Bungie overall, because we just had the Destiny 2 DLC launch, the Star Wars sort of crossover, and I mean, it's not everything, but it is interesting because, again, like you said, Sony spent 3.5 billion, was it like that, or 4
I
billion?
think 3.7 when all was said and done.
Yeah, exactly. And they already they already report some losses on Destiny, basically, because that game is not doing as well. And now with the new expansion, the peak concurrent on Steam when it came out, so for the most recent DLC that was already way like not as big as this Star Wars one, or not as big as like the Final Shape, of course, that launched last year. That was at 300,000 peak on Steam. The Edge of Fate, which launched in the summer, was 100,000, and this new Star Wars one 70,000. So, it like that game, and we have rumors now for Destiny 3, and I mean they have to do it, but it's gonna be rough and interesting to see if they even get there. But Marathon is gonna be so important. So I think, and I also hope for their sake, that they are going all in with streamers and everything. But you can only. Like, we've seen that also. The best example is, of course, the Star Wars Outlaws. We have the biggest marketing campaign ever. Well, that game sold 1 million in a month, and it's a Star Wars property. It's so it has to have the stuff, right? That game. But I do hope, and I think Sony will do everything. And yeah, it's gonna be either Bungie will be, successful thanks to Marathon, and it will allow them to make a Destiny 3, or things will get even worse, I think, in 2026 for them.
Yeah, it's not. You don't want to be Bungie right now. I mean, that's kind of the main takeaway. There is a chance, like I said back when the delay first hit. I think if it had launched in September, the odds of success were like 0%. Like, I don't see how that could have been successful.
100%.
But now that it's been delayed, I think there's probably like a 2 to 3% chance it finds some sort of audience. Nothing huge, but like I think you could find, 10, 15,000 people to play that regularly pretty solidly. And reportedly, they have made major improvements. Allegedly. Like, that's the big thing. Lexustro, thank you for this $5 super chat. My theory, the orientation/culture of the game world impacts how toxic players might be. Arc feels like surviving together versus trying to be the best. Well, I think some communities within Arc can certainly feel that way. I think also, like, the casual gaming audience really has a disdain for what they call toxicity, but a lot of the time it just means noob stomping. It means like hardcore players stomping on new players or less like skilled players. It's why a lot of people hate skill-based matchmaking, is because they don't like things being super sweaty all the time, whether you're casual or not. And so I think that their idea is that Marathon was supposed to be the first big game that is an extraction shooter, but for casual gamers. But they came out too late, because Arc Raiders is already that. I mean, it's already done that. So now it's not like they're not the revolutionizing force or game. Now they are playing catch up to the game that already did it, which is kind of amazing.
Give another experience, I think, that they could still add their own flavor to it. hopefully, and it's first person, so that of course helps.
I think the tough thing is, yeah, the first person differentiation goes a long way. I think it's also having heroes as archetypes, or runners, I guess, that will help a lot differentiate it, because what if it had launched in September, it would have been, it's like Tarkov, but when pitching it to like your friends. Now it's going to be, it's like Arc Raiders, but it has heroes, it's first person, and they're going to explain it in that context. And I think that probably helps them, because Arc Raiders has done really well at like pulling in new players who haven't historically played a lot of extraction shooters or any. So I think it's, they're primed to have a big audience, and it's very possible that by the time it launches in, say, February, that Arc Raiders sort of stagnating a little bit, people start looking for something else to try while they wait for more content in Arc Raiders or something. So I do think that they could thread the needle on this, kick the field goal, they could get it through the uprights, but it's going to be tough for sure.
100%. And yeah, that's why I think February makes sense. And I also saw, and yeah, that's just like an interesting thing, but Destiny 2 is gonna have, they already announced a lot of events for next year, and February is the only month that has no events yet. So I thought that was interesting for a potential release period.
Yeah, and there were also rumors that they've been doing very, very early work on Destiny 3, and we're going to see how that ends up. So who knows what they're doing. But I think if if Marathon collapses and is like a disaster and loses all the money they spent on it, I don't personally see a world in which Sony trusts them to spend 5 years building Destiny 3. Like, I just don't see how that works. I don't know. No. Can you? Like, say Marathon launches and it's at 100 players within 2 weeks. Like, there's no way they stay open, right?
No. I really hope that that's not happening. I think Bungie is a fun and a good developer to have around. But yeah. No,
they have some amazingly experienced devs. Like, when we were out there playtesting Marathon back in April, we were I went to get a coffee. We took like a little break. They're like, everybody stretch your legs. So I went up to get a coffee. They had this little coffee machine thing that makes lattes for you. And I went to get a coffee, and like, I'm standing there just chatting with this guy, and then he just casually mentions, so I forget the exact level it was, but he made a reference to like OG Halo, a very particular level. And he's like, yeah, so that, yeah, I did that. I made that. I did the Warthog design. So that's me. And I was like, you're just casually here. You're the Warthog guy. Like, that's you. And you're just here on a Monday or whatever. So they have some amazing talent and some legends of the industry. I think a lot of their problems have been, of course, managerial. A lot of those managers have since left, either been fired or like the CEO randomly retired, took his millions and FO'd. But I mean, at the end of the day, the damage is done. So we'll see if they can settle it out. It's just, they may end up being a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah, for sure. But Destiny is still big. Like, even if it's like way less than it once was, it's still a lot of people would die for a dedicated player base like that.
It's true. It's just, it's big, but it's not big enough. Like, it's big, but it's not profitable. Yeah,
it's very expensive to keep that game around. So maybe ask NetEase, like, yo guys, the Destiny Rising team, you're now Destiny 2.
Yeah, dude, they added a bunch of features people were begging for. But okay, I gotta ask you. We gotta shift topics a little bit. Okay,
yes.
I gotta ask you. Since the last time we spoke, we've had a couple of big things happen in the world of Assassin's Creed. Valley of Memory for Mirage. And of course, this Attack on Titan crossover event that's getting a lot of buzz.
Yeah, very good buzz.
a lot of discourse
for sure.
People are talking about it. And I'll be real. I have a video going up later today talking about Ubisoft's quality assurance problems. Because what I feel Ubisoft has just not really appreciated post-COVID is that launching something great is good for the brand, good for the franchise. It instills trust in players. It's a good thing. But when you then go turn around and release like an NFT game, or you turn around and you release this crossover event, even if it's a free little project, it still reflects badly on the company, on the brand, and it leads to worse games. It leads to player distrust. Like it's not a good thing, and they've continually done it. And so with like Valley of Memory, really well written, well performed, executed, production values there. Of course, they spend a lot more time and money on it, no doubt, than that the crossover. But they're both being presented as updates to established Assassin's Creed games for free for players, and it is shocking to me how low effort that Attack on Titan crossover was. What did you think of all of it? Like, where are you at with it?
I think it's overall very interesting. Like, I agree, the Attack on Titan content was not great. It was mostly just they clearly focused on the wrong things with that. With that content. I saw you say that in a video as well. If you cannot do it well, then maybe not do it. But I think if they made I don't know, just one boss fight against the Titan or something like that, or an interesting gameplay activity. I think that's why, I'm not sure if you played the Dead by Daylight crossover they did, but they basically created this whole like new level, and yeah, they had some new stealth elements. You had to watch out for these sort of totems, and if you were inside the light, the sort of guy that was hunting you, similar to by Dead by Daylight, would come after you and smack you, and then you would like have to start the level again. It was something you have not experienced in Shadows before, and this Attack on Titan is you're climbing, you're doing like, it was very unclear with how the level was designed, and it was just not a fun experience. And in terms of gameplay, there was nothing interesting going on. And then next to that, you get these cutscenes, and I was able to interview Simon, who is the associate game director on the game and now in charge of the post-launch. And I also asked him, what's up with the cutscenes? And I think he made a great point, basically saying, we know how to make these cutscenes. There are scenes in Shadows that are really good, especially at the start of the game and at the end, and that's always with these big Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
They have the stuff, but for whatever reason, we know the reasons they want to have a game where people can spend a lot of time, because that is what they say to their shareholders. Like, they have been with the most recent investor call again. It's like the daily or the monthly players for Assassin's Creed and how much time they spent. It's up double digit, blah, 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 because the games are big, but that is hurting the overall quality. And it means that even though they might have, and they will say that, we have more cutscenes in Shadows with motion capture than in, I don't know, other previous titles. But because these titles were way shorter, you constantly had these scenes. And in Shadows, you have to be lucky to encounter them. And a lot of them are, just very, very basic. I think also what you said, like, the people don't want to be there, the actors and the characters, and it just doesn't work, especially if you finally, one of the first targets you kill, it's okay, let's go, and then it's a very static scene with the rifle and this character, just the mouth is just moving, they have no emotion in their face.
No, dude, it's
really, really bad.
It is, and it's always just shocking to me, because it's like, we can do comparisons. There was a video I mentioned in the video that's going up later today, but there's a video where I believe it was about a year and a half ago. It was when Star Wars Outlaws came out, and it went viral, but it was a video that just said these two cutscenes are 14 years apart. And it was a cutscene from Star Wars Outlaws talking to the sheriff character, and then it was a cutscene from Red Dead Redemption from 2010. And the difference in production quality, in effort, in everything, the writing, all of it is night and day. It was shocking. And people do it also with Assassin's Creed, where you go back and you look at cutscenes from the middle of Black Flag, and they are heartfelt and motion captured and well performed. The voice acting's really good. And then you cut over to AC Shadows, and like, Nawe sees a friend of hers die or something, and she's like, oh no, we've got to get to the castle. Gesture. And then cut to Yasuke, and he's just, what do you mean? And it's like the most bizarrely paced, it's bad. It's just bad. And at the time of the game's launch, I was like, it's very dry. But what a lot of people on like Reddit, for example, were saying was that it's actually being done because in Japanese culture, especially at that time, you would not gesticulate wildly. You would stand very stoically, hands at your side. You
That's
would
also
talk.
what the developers said, by the way, pre-launch, where when people
Yeah,
asked about
and
it.
I remember them saying they had to totally rework the animation sets they used for AC Odyssey because they were dealing with different culture and they would talk differently and everything. And my position though with that is just like, I've said before, like perception is reality, the reality you have to deal with. And whether or not there was a reason or an intention behind them changing the animation style and making it more stoic and still and monotone, I understand that like the way people speak in Japanese is different. So if you're going to retain the tone and the rhythm of speech and the like intonations, if you're going to maintain that or lack thereof, it's going to sound to American or English listeners as much more monotone and flat. I get all that, but like, it's a video game. You can take creative liberties, as we've seen with other games set in Japan, for example, with like Ghost of Tsushima or Yote. And in those games, the creative liberty they take is to like make the characters sound like they didn't just down a bunch of sleeping medication. Like they actually sound impassioned, and they may not be gesturing realistically to social situations in feudal Japan, but I think that that's okay. And you know, Ubisoft, they've been plagued with this damned if you do, damned if you don't thing for a while, where like if they really try to be historically accurate with like how people gesticulate in the game, then people complain that it's too monotone and dry. But then if they were to change it, people would complain that this isn't how they would have actually spoken, and they would never do this in a social situation. Like, so I get where they're at, but like at some point, I feel like if you showed those cutscenes to anybody before launch, we would have been like, guys, it's dry. It's like really slow. I told them that when I went in January, and I was like, it's pretty dry, honestly. And Yasuke's not bad. Nawe's actress, and there's just no way to say this nicely, I just don't. I did not like her performance in Shadows, and I think that the DLC is also showing that. Like, there was a whole thing we found on Reddit of people asking if Nawe's voice actress was assisted by AI voice lines, because her performance was so dry, people couldn't tell if it was AI generated or not. And at that point, if people can't tell the difference between you and AI slop, like something went wrong, you know? But
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, but I think overall there are two kind of discussions here. I think for one, it's clear that Ubisoft put resources towards the wrong thing, and I think really with the Black Flag remake seemingly coming, that was of course another big thing that happened since our last show, with Tom Henderson now reporting that it's in the final week of March, so probably the 27th, which would be a Friday. I think playing that game again, and then with the Shadows graphics, and still seeing those cutscenes, you're like, whoa, I can't believe this was Ubisoft in 2013, and how good those scenes are, and what it turned into right now.
And some of the writing really too, like the writing is so good. Like Blackbeard's line where he just he says like, if it weren't for, or in a world without gold, we could have been good men or honorable men. I forget the exact, I'm going to look it up because that line is so good.
Yeah, but that will be really, I think replaying that game with the remake will be really like, whoa, what the heck, what happened? I think it's clear that they kind of went too far in that direction, and then having Outlaws as well, where that is, so they clearly put the wrong focus. That it's clearly important for a lot of people, but yeah, they focused on the environments and the world, and those look beautiful in both games, but yeah, you're mostly engaging with these characters, and if you want to tell a heartfelt story, and even if the writing with Ubisoft games is always kind of mid, even if it's at least cool to look at, and at least the characters seem to mean it, it already goes a long way, I think. And I think Ghost of Yote is a great example of how, with limited resources, again, that's a way smaller team even than what Ubisoft is, with the amount of people, the amount of people that worked on the Ubisoft games, and they zoom the camera out, so you're not constantly focused on these characters and how their mouths move and stuff like that, because that game also doesn't have a lot, like still more, it feels like, motion capture scenes, but all the interactions with the characters in the world, because that's, I think, the realistic side of it. They cannot go fully motion capture. That would probably ruin them. Like Horizon Forbidden West did that, and
Yeah.
that is crazy. That what they did there,
Well,
and I
and-
don't think that is the right solution either.
Well, it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing, where it's like, you know, which came first, the decision to block it in such a dry way and say it was for out of cultural respect, or was it that they had like scope cuts and they decided not to motion capture cutscenes? Because frankly,
100% that's the reason.
yeah, like if you're gonna stand with arms down like this and just kind of randomly talk in a monotone, barely moving your face, and stand in a perfect, it's amazing. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it. In AC Shadows and all the DLC and things, or crossover things, the conversations are always like really basic triangles, or they stand in a square or a triangle or a pentagon. Like they stand in a very simple orientation with really basic camera angles that are fixed. It's not the same dynamic tool set they had for Odyssey, which had cinematic camera angles shifting even in conversations and across lines of dialogue. And so it's like a major downgrade. But then it's like because they're standing that way, there would be no reason to motion capture. What are you going to motion capture? Just them standing at attention? Like the way that they blocked it, you know, mandated that. It would have made motion capture a waste.
I think they probably didn't have enough time, and that's another thing that from the Simon interview was very interesting, I think, and something I already heard before, but now it's cool to have him basically say that on stream. They spent a lot of time with Shadows working on the engine, and we will see the fruits of that labor for the future games, because they don't have to spend 2.5 years or whatever it is on all these engine upgrades. And I think that is also the reason why, remember, when they announced Shadows, it was constantly talking about the lighting and the seasons and all that sort of stuff. And we were like, okay, but when are you going to talk about the actual game? And it probably seemed like they were so focused on that aspect, because all the future Assassin's Creed games, the Black Flag remake, Hexe to some degree, and all the things they will have after will be working on this engine. And seeing Shadows now on Switch 2, I watched the Digital Foundry video, it runs, which means that all the Assassin's Creed games that are coming out this generation will be on Switch 2 as well, which is pretty huge overall. But that meant that at one point they were like, shit, we have to make this feudal Japan open world RPG as well. And that's where the post-launch was like an afterthought, while with an Odyssey they had this whole plan, and with Origins and Valhalla more so as well. And yeah, that's probably also where we cannot go to every conversation and, okay, let's now do a cool shot of this temple or whatever, because they probably ran out of time. And that's more an explanation of probably what happened. I still don't think that's good, and they are seeing that right now with how really this Attack on Titan situation is kind of backfiring, because, and I think that's the second conversation. So I think for one, the conversation is they should really put more resources into making these character interactions more believable and giving us like what we saw from the previous games, at least to some degree, with these regular conversations. But I think the other conversation is, should they even, like, I have covered the Origins post-launch, the Odyssey post-launch, Valhalla post-launch from moment one till the end, and we were on our own island. Like, we were just playing that content, we were having a great time. For some reason, Shadows has the spotlight. So probably, and they're of course doing they're doing more crossover, so that is not helping either. They're really shouting from rooftops, yo, we got Attack on Titan. So that's,
but even that, like,
totally on them.
I remember like looking back at AC Origins, they did, I think it was a Final Fantasy crossover, and it was like pretty high effort. It was very good. They had the unique mount that they brought to the game. Like, it was high effort.
It was not great though. This is more effort.
Like, I don't know if I would say
content.
effort. I think the production quality on this is somehow, like, it's so jarringly bad that it, even if they had 20 people working on it for a month or two, however long they worked on it, it is, I think, when contrasted with the like Valley of Memory expansion thing that they dropped for free for Mirage, it just feels like they literally put interns on it. And that, again, doesn't help Assassin's Creed. Like Ubisoft is always like, why don't people buy the games at launch? Why are they waiting for sales? This is why, because you don't know if you're going to get Valley of Memory or if you're going to get this crossover level of quality, because it's so inconsistent from release to release. They'll put out Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and then they'll rush out Star Wars Outlaws the same year. They're like, what do you mean you guys aren't confident?
But that is what Simon said. We have the motion capture people in the studio, but they are working on the actual big things, and we are with a dedicated team on the Shadows post-launch, but we don't like interns is maybe a bit too harsh, but I do think that's a lot of people maybe working on Assassin's Creed just now, and like they don't seemingly have the experience of the people that are working on the next big RPG or whatever. So I think what you said, like, then just not do it at all if this is the result you can get, or make it a gameplay focused thing, and that is what they seem to do next year, and that's what Valhalla did as well. They didn't go and try big cutscenes. They made a mode where you would like do challenges and you got gold medals.
The river raid
It was
stuff,
all gameplay. Yeah, it was all gameplay focused, and they were not trying to make this grand story-based mission. Probably because they knew they could not. So they were just giving replayable stuff to do in the game, and that is what Shadow should have done from the start as well. And they finally are realizing that. But yeah, it's already too late for this. And I'm really curious, because they are monitoring everything, what the impact of this will be. Is it like, okay, maybe like they're of course scared. What if this impacts the Hexay reveal? Like, that's of course the worst case scenario. If people, when the Hexay cinematic comes along, it's like, when is the Attack on Titan crossover, something like that, right? So that will be interesting.
Yeah, I think, like, I see people in chat mentioning like all of these are just excuses from Ubisoft. I agree. I think it's very clear that what is actually going on, they say that they're doing the cutscenes this bland way because of cultural considerations. I would bet you that was an excuse they thought of after the budgets and scope and scale were trimmed down. And they're like, oh, and now we can say that. And now, because we've done that, we don't have to spend all that time in the motion capture booth, which saves a lot of time. But ultimately, the reason that they do that, and this is the core thing that I've been frustrated by, they do it because they think / know they can get away with it. Like the people that are playing AC Shadows will be like, yeah, I mean, it's not as good at cutscenes as like Origins had, or as Odyssey, or even Valhalla, but, and certainly not Black Flag or any of those. But, you know, yeah, some junk food gaming. So, you know, I put some hours into it. It's fine. It's good enough. It's good enough. And that's what feeds all the other data that they're pointing to justify it by saying, well, our player counts are high and our engagement hours played is super high. But this is like a problem with modern gaming that I've mentioned before. And to reference, I'm going to use a quote from Jeff Bezos, the one and only. And he, in his leadership of Amazon, had a point where he said, when the data and the anecdote disagree, it's usually the anecdote that's correct, and there's something wrong with the data or the collection of it or your interpretation of it. I think a lot of studios are starting to make design choices or justify design choices by data. So like BGS will decide to go with like the paid mod stuff because they're seeing that people are downloading it, spending money, and they can look at that data and justify the design choices that they're making. With Starfield, they're like, yeah, the game is bigger than ever. Yes, people are complaining it's boring, but more people have put more hours into this game than any of our other games in the last 5 years or something. And so they can point to that. So they're using the data to justify what they're doing, even though the anecdotal experience from many individuals is not just slightly disagreeing, but completely disagreeing. And in this case, I think that, you know, Ubisoft probably has data that like they can do the low effort stuff in AC Shadows, or in Star Wars Outlaws. And in many games, you know, they can maybe push it out the door a little early, and for years they could get away with it, and players would just kind of hand wave it away, roll their eyes, say it's good enough, whatever. But that's started to shift and change with Star Wars Outlaws, with that underperformance. When the anecdote caught up, Breakpoint was back in 2019, I think. And I think now they're reaching a point where the anecdote is starting to catch up with the data and people's experiences that they've been verbalizing for a long time. It's also starting to seep into the engagement and the perception of the content more broadly into the casual space. And so maybe now we'll actually see adjustments. And like you said, they made a lot of investments in the engine. Maybe it does mean with the Black Flag remake and with Hexe, we're going to be looking back on a year and be like, okay, they heard us. All of Hexe is motion captured. It's all very well done. The writing's great. Maybe we'll be here saying that. I don't know.
I do think there are conversations, or at least if that game has the same stiff conversations, even though it should be a smaller title, and smaller for Assassin's Creed probably means a 15-hour story or something. So God of War is one of the games that was mentioned in comparison, not by Ubisoft, but just like from Tom Henderson, or just to kind of like expect what we can get. So it's like semi-open, so linear sections, and then maybe some open spaces. That's at least what I think it will be as well. If that game doesn't have the full motion capture approach, that would be... I would delay the game then. I would be like, okay, we cannot do that. Let's get these people in the room and make all these scenes matter. But
because that's... I think what you just said is precisely it. If it feels like Ubisoft doesn't care about the cutscene enough to motion capture it, or at least put high effort, like, cinematic quality into it like they did with Odyssey. If they don't care enough to even try with it, why should the viewer or the player care? And like, it really does feel like the scene doesn't matter when it's just three characters standing in a triangle talking monotone to each other before fading to black and going back to gameplay. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
For me, my best Shadows experience was doing New Game Plus and skipping everything and just playing the game, because I think the gameplay is still very, very good. Especially the stealth, but it's gonna be interesting to watch. I do think that the Shadows post-launch situation is a vicious, like a circle. Like, that game probably underperformed in terms of what they expected, because you just had Valhalla, which was enormous. So they were probably like not expecting that level, but maybe like when they started development, they probably expected it to be at least at one point going to reach that, or Odyssey levels. And I do think it started strong, but then Odyssey is being played more, for example, right now at this current moment, than Shadows, on Steam at least. And I do think that then they were like, okay, this is the amount of resources we're going to put in the post-launch. It's not going to be as much as we usually do, because there are not as many players. And then the quality of the content they can even put out is less as well. And so I do think it's kind of like a vicious cycle, and it's not helping. But I think it's at least cool that they're going to continue with support of the game next year. And they're not doing a second DLC. That was the other big news. But
I think we will see, changes or responses to some of the feedback. And at the very least, in terms of how they pitch it, I think Black Flag Remake it's too late for them to really change or do anything with it. But Black Flag Remake has the chance to like really adjust and shift the narrative in a significant way. Because let's say they come out, it's a remake, and it literally is just Black Flag, but with Shadows graphics. And then, like, obviously it's been reported and leaked that they're going to be changing some other like gameplay elements too. But like, if it is a true faithful remake and it's received well, it goes over well, that I think would be forgive the turn of phrase, it would be a good amount of wind in their sails that they could use, that they frankly probably need. But I swear to whatever god they worship at Ubisoft, if they come out with the Black Flag Remake and they've replaced motion captured scenes with like that stupid stare, I'm gonna scream.
Why? That would be so stupid. They're not stupid. That's stupid.
If they have the motion capture data still, then they can do it, unless they would have to recapture it. It was suggested, or not suggested, the voice actor for Edward, he's the one that was making little sly comments like, you might want to play it again soon, and apparently he got in trouble for saying that. But that suggests to me that he was involved in the remake in some capacity.
Yeah, but there are a rumor to have like new, instead of the modern day, they're gonna do like new content. So
what was the rumored name too? It was
Resynced.
Resynced, yeah, because they're cutting out the the parts where you're walking around Ubisoft headquarters in the start of the game.
Yeah, basically the Singapore headquarters, I think it was. So yeah, and yeah, instead of that, they are gonna do 4 hours of new content. At least that was what Jukes video, I think, said. The French.
There wasn't it rumored that they
gaming
were
site.
adding back some of the cut content from.
I don't think they said the cut content. Yeah, I think that has been speculation. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, at least more. Instead of modern day, they're gonna do more pirate stuff, basically.
More
Yeah,
shanties. But that's the thing.
Yes.
Like, this is probably one of the big things. Like, people are saying never underestimate them. At this point, I have the confidence I have in
Was it
them.
Montreal? Okay, it was Montreal, seemingly. What you were walking around. I think it was. Okay.
I have a lot of confidence in their ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And I think they have a layup here. Just like, BGS with the Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever. This could go really, really well. And it should be, on paper, easy for them to just get some quick brownie points with the remake. Like, you remake this, then you go and you remake AC2. Like, bro, people will lose their minds. Easy brownie points. That's why everybody else is doing it, because it just prints money. And maybe thankfully for them, expectations are quite low. And so if they meet the bar, it'll feel like a major W for them. But they gotta hit that bar.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm still kind of sad about the release date, man. It's the same week as 007. The week before, you got Saros and Crimson Desert. One of them has to move. I really want Crimson Desert to move.
Crimson Desert. Yeah, we were talking about earlier on stream whether 007 gets delayed.
I don't know, but I'm not sure about the IO. Like why all these games are in March is of course because of their financial years. So it's all still happening in this current year. But so I'm not sure if IO has that.
I personally, I'm just getting the vibe that IO is not going to delay it.
No, me
the
neither.
demo footage that they've been using is the same footage they shared at Gamescom, and that footage is probably from a build circa like May or June. So it had some technical problems, yeah. But by the time the game launches, it should be like 9 months of polishing, which, in theory at least, is a lot. So I'm optimistic that they can get it where it needs to be, but
I don't think they should. I think they might be overestimating the 007 brand a bit. That's my fear. That they're really thinking a lot of people will show up like a Hogwarts Legacy, but I don't know if that's the case. I hope, of course, that that's the case, and I totally have faith that the game is gonna be good. But it's also, you're launching in a very different time. And yeah, it's a very traditional single player type experience. It's kind of Uncharted-y, but yeah, you don't have the PlayStation's, like the Naughty Dog PlayStation Studios brand. And then coming out in the same week as the Black Flag remake, where like people know, okay, that game is gonna take me 60 hours or whatever it is, and this James Bond game probably 20. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I like shorter games too, but people are like they do like their money going into something they can spend more time with. And then you have Crimson Desert. That's like, if that game is really hitting on all cylinders, then a lot of people are gonna still be busy with that. So I'm just worried, man, that a lot of, and Saros, you got like your particular audience for that. I'm just worried.
Yeah.
That yeah.
It's gonna be. I personally suspect that they're going to be doing like a much more traditional media marketing push, like you're suggesting, where I think that their goal is to get that Hogwarts Legacy style promotional thing where you get the 007 fans, you get the people who like the movies, you get those people to come in and buy it. I do think like there will be a gamer marketing push, but I think that the big push is going to be for a lot of the casual audience.
Yeah,
and maybe that's the thing, because like honestly, Crimson Desert might not have the same casual appeal. You know, it's fairly hardcore. You've played it, I've played it. It's not a game that I think the average person on the street could pick up the controller and jump into. Like it's fairly hardcore.
I think it's just hard to bet on those casual people. And that's all I'm trying to say. You just cannot count on them. You cannot count on them to show up. because yeah,
Because they're filthy
like,
casuals.
and they're now playing Fortnite. Like that's their thing. That is so much like first we had movie games coming out. Every movie had like a game that was being worked on for 1 year, and some were good, some were bad. And yeah, those people bought those games, but now you got the skin in Fortnite. Like that's the it has changed. And if Fortnite launches a big season in March,
Yeah. Do you
I
think
don't
I
know if
bought
people
that
are gonna
Sabrina
spend-
Carpenter skin for nothing? No. I'm gonna use
No,
it.
you didn't. Dude, I'm playing as Uma Thurman right now in Fortnite, slashing
Hell
those
yeah.
people.
Hell yeah. I knew you were cool. Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating. But yeah, March is going to be absolutely crazy. February will probably be busy for us with a lot of like coverage and
Hopefully,
Pre-coverage.
if we get Crimson Desert a month before, that would be necessary if we want to cover the other games.
yeah,
too.
I should DM them and be like, just a heads up, we need it super early if it's as big as you say.
Please,
Please, dear
do the
God.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 approach.
Literally every studio, every publisher I've spoken to, I have told the best possible way to signal confidence to your players, to your potential customers, and to the media and press and people playing the game. Give it to them stupid early. If it's a big game over 50 hours, give it a month early, and that will do so much to show how confident you are. If the game is
Sony always does it.
yeah, Sony
as well.
very confident. I'm trying to think if there's another group that was super early with stuff.
Nintendo it does it as well, but yeah, you have to be in that
The bubble.
in that bubble.
Yeah, there's some that do it and are very confident and they have reasons for it. There's other studios that will tell you you're getting a review and then just don't send it. Veilguard, but you know, it's just hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I do feel that this year has really shown, and we're seeing that like as well with I think Battlefield. I saw Moxie, another creator, of course, talk about it how they were already invited to DICE 2 years before the game came out or something to give feedback, and then you, of course, got Battlefield Labs. So I do think things are changing with how crazy the competition is right now. You need feedback early and from the people that are actually going to play it. You don't want to have a beta or a launch and then be surprised by the feedback that ship has sailed, because
Yeah. Well, especially because it's so easy to get that feedback ahead of time. Like it's so easy. And I mean, I've spoken of this, of course, for obvious reasons. I can't be specific, but I've been like in the last couple of years, I've been asked to provide feedback on upcoming games, a good number of them, because they want to know what somebody like me is going to say before the video drops, you know? And so it's like, hey, we haven't revealed the game yet. There's not even a trailer out. It's not even been announced. But what do you think? And you know, you give them the feedback.
You could have
they can work
saved
with it.
Concord. You could have saved Concord.
I feel like anybody could have saved Concord to just be like, what is this? What are we doing? But that's the same thing
where
where
anyone could have saved it.
I think, yeah, it was, what did Herman, what was it? What Colin said, Herman, it was called,
Wars, the new Star Wars.
yeah,
Or what
their
do
new
you mean?
Star
Oh,
Wars.
his baby. Yeah.
People
yeah.
called it his baby. Yeah. Yeah, they I don't know if anybody could have saved that, but I will say, like, there's a number of studios who have actually taken that to heart and been like, okay, let's get feedback, not just from content creators, but from individuals too, with surveys.
Yeah.
There was that rumored one for Fair Game $sign that happened that the studio head was booted out after. So I don't know if that was creators or if that was regular people in like a beta program, but either way, it's happening, and they're trying to get feedback earlier so that they don't have like Saints Row or Forspoken problems where it's like, how did you guys not see this coming? But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, man, and these games from China and the Korea, where we've already touched on those, like the Crimson Deserts, the Where Winds Meets, they're coming for everyone. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, this year we've already slowly seen it, but it was the Genshin Impacts, it was for the anime fans. But now they're coming for the Western, like the AAA realistic looking games too. I really want to see the data on people just playing Where Winds Meet instead of the new Assassin's Creed or something next year. Like that would be very interesting to me, if that's actually taking away those people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, they're in fact just the other day. You guys will have to. You'll have to try to help me remember the name of it. What is that Chinese game that was revealed that looks like God of War? Blood Message. That's it. Blood Message.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
This thing looks insane. And actually, Corey Barlog was in chat the other day, and he hadn't heard of this one yet, because we were talking about all sorts of these Eastern studios that are doing crazy work.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
And so we showed it to him. He's like, I will have to check that out. That's crazy. Because it does just look insane. Like, but this is what we're going to start seeing. It's why I've said in the next 10 years, I think some of the biggest games like this are going to come from studios you've never heard of before. And it's just because a lot of those studios are either brand new. There's a ton of amazing talent in China, Korea, Japan. And historically, so far, they have not even tried with games like this. They typically make like the big MMOs, mobile games, whatever, that print money. But now you're starting to see them break into this AAA space for Western audiences too. And they're making it look real easy, and they're doing it quickly.
Unreal
and
Engine
cheaper.
5 helped as well, because yeah, your game just instantly looks way better. And the thing is, and we've talked about it before, there are so many people in China, so only the best of the best get to work at these companies. And of course, yeah, the crunch culture is way more present there.
Well, it's why people are like, how are these games coming out so quickly and so cheaply? And it's like, bro, because they don't pay people hardly anything. But if you're in China and you want to work in these studios and you're very talented, like that's where you work. It's your option.
No,
and
but
so
you have to, like, it's really for you. They have 10,000 other people, and it even seems like someone told me they're watching like Chinese sort of TV shows, and instead of like having the policeman, or I'm just saying something like as the career that people like look up to, it's game developers in these shows. Like they're really, those are like the famous rock stars in China. Your game developer, like the Black Myth Wukong guy, for example.
Have you seen the guys over at S Game? Because did you send Dennis
Phantom Blade Zero
to Phantom Blade Zero?
Yeah.
They so the guy that runs S Game, let me see if I can find the website. S Game as a studio is run by a guy. I think he goes by S. That's his like name
awesome.
that they refer to. But
He's a superhero.
yeah, well, and he is like an actual rock star within there. I think they said he's a former like environmental artist on games, and like this is literally what their studio looks like. It's like straight up futuristic craziness. It looks like AI renders, but these are actual pictures.
Abstergo building.
Yeah, like look at it. What is this chair? What are like what? But like
It's
this
not
is
real, yeah.
this is what they're doing, and they are amazingly talented. Like S Game again with Phantom Blade Zero, they had like 2,000 people at that event. Like 2,000 people for a game in a brand new IP that like nobody's ever seen.
People saw the dollar signs, man. Black Myth Wukong, what was it? It cost like, I don't even know.
I think it was like 16 million or something. It was not anywhere
exactly.
near what
they
you would
made
think.
that in one day, and then some, because that game sold 20 million now or something. Of course, a lot in China, and the game is a bit cheaper there. But yeah, that is crazy. It is crazy.
It's I seriously think like it'll be good for the industry, because I think you're gonna see, you know, finally some stiff competition for like Sony's first party studios, where you're going to see some new players, and that's always good. Competition is always good for the studio, for the industry. It means more competition, better pricing, the talent, you know, and everybody's pushing each other to make advancements. But I think the biggest thing and the biggest influence is that the Chinese and Korean and Japanese studios are going to be able to put these games out probably faster because of crunch culture, and also because of cost. They're cheaper to make over there.
They can have two people employed for one people here.
Yeah,
for
literally.
One person here.
Hey,
yeah.
same thing. Like we looked at the salary pricing for or what they offer for salaries at From Software, and it is way less than you would think.
Something.
Yeah, it's like $1,800 a month. They got a raise, I think, earlier this year up to $2,000 US dollars a month. is where the starting
Crazy.
salary is. Like you could literally make more than that working at a coffee shop, like
Yeah.
in my small local town. And so it's just different over there, and that's going to lower the costs for their games. That's where the profit's going to be. And it's going to be interesting to see how studios in like Quebec, Montreal, Paris, Amsterdam, like how do you compete with that if your costs are double or triple? Like how do you compete with the Chinese studio that can do it in half the time for half the price?
Yeah,
I don't know if you
it's
do.
going to be very interesting. Probably we will really see the best of the best survive. And you got an Embark now, you got a CDPR, of course. Yeah, Rockstar, like those will probably be fine. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think like Sucker Punch has also shown how it can be done here in the West with a smaller team and yeah, still
Just
making a
manage
very
scope.
solid game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is probably it. But like you say, competition is always good, and I totally agree with that. But I do think, yeah, as hard as it might sound, like heads will roll. Like these studios will have to adapt because it does seem, and that's what we've seen over the years, the amount of players is not really increasing, but where they spend their time is changing. And yeah, if you make a game with the assumption you're gonna get the same amount of players from a few years ago because that's what you always had, but now those people are already spending time in the free-to-play games that are getting better and better from even the Western studios, and then you got like the Asian developers putting those games out as well with AAA quality. Like the biggest thing I've seen from Where Winds Meet is how is this game free? Like we're not like we don't expect those types of things. So man, it's gonna be fascinating. But I do think it's gonna be also of course good, but I do fear for some studios, if you're like the BioWares or something, yeah, I don't know, man.
You just won't compete. I mean, if you have to spend 8 years building like a Dragon Age Veilguard or a Mass Effect 5, whatever it is, I don't know how that makes sense, especially because, like, again, for everybody at home, it's not just a matter of like, can that individual studio compete? The studio is getting funding from investors, from shareholders, from people who are giving you money to give a return. And why would those investors give you money if you are going to take twice the time and it's going to cost twice as much? And even then it may still flop. Or I could give that money to Chinese studios or to a big firm that owns and invests in Chinese studios, and be much more confident that the game's going to be made cheaper. It's going to have a built-in audience of people in China who it's like a point of national pride. I was talking to one of the people at S Game, and they were saying that they had people coming from universities across China for that S Game event, and they were like, their professors were asking if they could like take pictures, and they were giving them time off of their exams, and they were helping them work around like assignments to be able to go to this video game event because it's a point of national pride for them. Where it's like, how many people in Washington do you think you could walk up on the street and be like, so are you going to be buying Marathon to support Bungie? Like, I don't think you're going to find anybody. Yeah. It's just going to be a different thing. The industry is changing a lot. It's not just AI, but it's also just geographically things are shifting. I see Pollock says, as long as they don't use AI. I have some bad news for you about Chinese development, because I think it's going to definitely use AI tools. So I don't know. Yeah, they're not too concerned. It's the same thing where it's like, I hope they don't use crunch culture. It's like, who's gonna tell them? Who's gonna tell them? It's something gamers that crunch is an awful thing. It literally takes people away from their families. It can destroy marriages, and it can be an awful thing in any industry, gaming, finance, whatever. But I think for a long time the games industry was built on crunch, was built on getting 80 hours a week out of a lot of people for the last few months of development. And post-COVID, a lot of that went away. A lot of crunch culture was killed off. which works if it's true for everybody, but it doesn't really work if you then have Chinese companies that are coming in and still
If
crunching.
they're competing with different rules, then yeah.
Yeah, because that's a good way of putting it. They're playing by a different set of rules. They're like, yeah, let's play football, but we get twice the players. It's like, oh,
basically.
that doesn't really work. We're gonna lose now.
Yeah. You go off the field at 6, and we keep playing.
Yeah, we're gonna
and
have
we
an
just
extra.
score.
We'll have an extra 10 minutes to.
Yeah.
do stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fascinating, but for gamers, it probably means that we see some very well established studios sort of go the way of the dodo, would be my guess. And I think it also means that we're going to get a lot of really great games coming from brand new studios, fresh perspectives, and that's how the industry rolls. Though there's always going to be fresh ideas, and competition's gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you have any closing thoughts? Because we've been going for like, I don't know, an hour and a half, and it's always a joy to chat.
No, I think we covered probably everything. I mean, we can quickly touch like the Game Awards, of course, coming up next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at what was revealed last year, and it was pretty crazy actually. Like the Intergalactic, Witcher 4 was revealed. Mm-hmm. We got first looks at Mafia, Borderlands, Split Fiction, Dispatch. So I hope we see some more cool reveals that will hopefully blow us away here at the end of the year. I mean, the first half of 2026 is already pretty big, but yeah, we don't really know what's gonna happen after that, and we do know that it's probably like most companies are going to rush to get their game out before November. So I do think we will start to hear more about what 2026 will look like, and maybe even beyond. So that's gonna be exciting. I hope we see finally Tomb Raider. I think that would be very cool.
Yeah. I think it's very possible and very likely even. I do think there will be some surprises. Do you think we see the Black Flag remake at the Game Awards, or do you think they shadow drop it or something, or do their own event?
No, I think the Prince of Persia thing is interesting. That I do think it would be not ideal to have both like Ubisoft remakes at the same time. And if the rumors are true that the Prince of Persia remake is already coming on January 16th, then that does give them time to release that and then talk about Black Flag. So if they're gonna do a remake, I think it will be Prince of Persia. But then the Twitter account said we can't wait to show you more next year, which is kind of weird to me. But I think they're probably going to do the Prince of Persia, because we have to remember they worked on that game for 5 extra years. Yeah. Because it was supposed to come out in January 2021. Then Montreal took it in themselves. So it's not a small project or anything.
Looked really good too. Like, it's not every day that we get Ubisoft leaks and we're all going, "Oh baby, okay." But like those leaks actually looked really good. And apparently they were from, I think, early 2024, I think.
Yeah.
So they were pretty old. But anyway, I think that that's possible. I've been saying for a long time, I think the best thing for the Black Flag remake is shadow dropping it. It's bad for my business, but I think that would be best for the game. Don't give people time to complain about stuff. Just let them go buy it and play it. So that's my stance, but we'll see what they do. I think that there's probably going to be a good number of surprises. But I don't know. Like, I guess if we have to do this, I'm going to ask you first so I have time to stall and think of one. What do you think is going to be like the one big game that people are talking about after the show? Like, what's the big reveal?
I mean, we have the Half-Life 3 rumor, of course. I think it's possible. Of course, they said, Valve doesn't really jive with like Jeff, but remember Jeff was giving away a Steam Deck, I think, every minute of one Game Award at one point. I think that could of course be huge, but I hope it's Corey's game or something like that. Like, I hope we finally get another big PlayStation banger. I mean, Intergalactic was last year. We know Naughty Dog is working on another game. That would be cool to like Uncharted, like seeing that or so. Like, Sony doesn't do the showcase anymore. I think they're gonna save that for the PlayStation 6 and a State of Play. Yeah, that is not big enough for some of the games that I do think are still cooking and want to hopefully launch this generation. So I'm holding hope for Corey's game. Return of Uncharted, like that's the second Naughty Dog project, I think. Something like that. That's what I hope. I think Microsoft has everything already announced. Would be cool to see. I think they're probably going to focus on Forza Horizon because that seems to be actually in the first half of 2026. So yeah, I'm not expecting like a big surprise from them. Bethesda, yeah, I don't think we're gonna see anything from them. Capcom has some games in the near future, of course. I think Resident Evil might show up again.
Pragmata.
So yeah, but I think that might be a bit later. I think Onimusha is probably a bit later too. So I think they're gonna focus on Resident Evil first. But yeah, if you kind of go down the list, I see a lot of people talk about the Blood of the Dawnwalker. Like seeing those games again would be fun, but I do think we need I think Tomb Raider would already, if it's really open world. I think people are secretly really, really looking forward to a type of game like that. So if that game has a really good showing, I do think that could be talked about a lot too.
I think so. I think all of that is very good. I think that I'm guessing the statue has to do with something related to Elder Scrolls Online. I know some people think it's going to be something else. Some people were saying it's going to be Warcraft. It could be that because it looks kind of like one of the I forget what it's called, but we looked it up earlier.
Yeah.
But I think we see that. I think that an easy dub for like BGS would be if they have a trailer for the Fallout 3 remake, but they probably are going to try to shadow drop it because they have the show coming out soon after. So if they have anything ready,
Starfield potentially, but I think they're going to probably do Fallout 76, like to hype it again around the show, because I think the show actually comes out that week, right? Or
it comes out the 17th, I think. So it's
the
like
17th,
a week and a half after.
No, I think they're going to focus on 76 probably first.
Probably that's what saw the biggest player bump, anyways. But yeah, and they could still shadow drop the 3 remake if it's ready. It might not be ready till
further out though, from what I've seen.
That's my understanding as well. Is that it's further off. I think that probably one that I'm hoping for might be just Cope. I do think we'll see a really, really simple 10-second confirmation of like Dispatch Season 2. Just something really quick and simple. Just we'll see the logo and it'll say Season 2 and then it'll cut. Because I don't think they have anything ready, but I think that they'll confirm it's coming. I think we probably see something for Saros, like a trailer or something. I think
that could be what the doors are for as well.
It could be like you just never. It could be so many different things. It's just vague enough that it could be.
But it better be good because otherwise, next time they do something like this, they must be very happy with the engagement on it. Yeah. Next time they do something like, I mean, Jason Schreier knew what it was and said it was good. So
yeah. The fact that Jason Schreier's interested in it makes me think it's not just like some stupid mobile game.
Yeah. I can see Square, by the way, with like Kingdom Hearts or maybe even Final Fantasy Part 3, like that has been almost 2 years. So I do think they want to get that out ASAP. So.
Yeah. I think we might see The Expanse. We could see a trailer for that. I think that could scratch a lot of people's Mass Effect itch. They
only have the Exodus. That's the other game. Exodus and Expanse. They're both like Mass Effect inspired, but the Exodus is at least confirmed.
Yeah,
we know that.
Okay. So there's that. I think. What else? I thought maybe there was a chance of seeing the Dusk Bloods, but I think personally Nintendo's going to keep that for themselves and do like a Nintendo event in like April or something to promote it.
Still weird, man, that game.
That whole thing is going to be so weird. I find it so fascinating, but it's just
they better
so
have
weird.
like a PC launch later, you would think, right?
Yeah,
it's not a Nintendo
I think so,
game.
but like I don't think Nintendo would want that anytime soon because the whole point is that it's exclusive. Like the whole reason they got it is because they want those people on PC to buy a Switch for it. And one of the Reddit threads I saw on it, the best comment I still think about it was a guy just said, Hidetaka Miyazaki is in the kitchen cooking, but we're locked out. Or another guy,
what? Let me in.
Yeah, I want it. Another guy was like, so I finally know what it felt like to be a Souls fan when Bloodborne came out exclusive to PlayStation, because a lot of people when that happened didn't have PlayStations, and they bought it for Bloodborne. So it could happen, but what makes it even worse is that it is an always online multiplayer. Well, I don't know if it's always online, but it's a multiplayer design game that relies on the Nintendo Online infrastructure, which is notoriously terrible.
And you gotta get that camera, man.
And you gotta get the camera for the chat button.
360p camera.
Yeah, dude.
They could, like, that would be another huge one, like another announcement of them. Like, I think Elden Ring was, of course, Summer Game Fest. Bloodborne was, Sekiro was during Game Awards, like the weird arm. I think they showed like a teaser for that. So that would, of course, be huge if they're like, yeah, we got the Nintendo thing going, but I still believe the sort of Spellcaster rumor or whatever it was, it might be true.
What was that?
So they do like their next game. It was like a.
Oh wait, that okay. I thought you were saying within Duskbloods.
No,
you know what'd be
like
really
a
funny
separate game. Yeah.
is if he like they have a trailer where it's the Duskbloods trailer, but it's literally just like at one point one of the characters reaches down and grabs an actual living mouse, and people are like, oh my god, it's confirmation. Mouse in the hand, PC port confirmed.
No,
That's
and
all
then
they need
it's
to
a
do.
Joy-Con because you have a mouse there too. Gotcha,
Damn it,
guys.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
It is what's the game? Dragon Drive 2.
Yeah, Dragon Drive. Didn't look ridiculous at all.
Wow.
Oh man.
Did you see the desert in Metroid Prime? What that looks like? You have to quickly show this.
Okay, I'll pull it up. Desert and Metroid.
Wait. I have like a tweet from
you do? Okay.
From Game Explain.
Yeah, also
Here.
shout out Donkey. Apparently I'm in the new Donkey video that just went up.
Nice.
Which is fun.
Nice.
Big ups Donkey. Big ups Donkey. Not that he needs my help.
Look at this.
Let's see. Okay.
It seems like I want to play the game. It seems like the game is really good, but look, this cannot be 2025, right?
Dude, I saw people
my
were
God.
I saw people were shocked that it reviewed in the 80s. Like 80s
What
is still a good
this
score, but
gameplay?
like
This is like N64 graphics.
fam. I'm gonna say it. Cancel me. I don't care. This is my opinion. I'm gonna say it. I think Nintendo with the Switch 2, the games so far have been pretty mid. I said it. I know I haven't really played them, but I will.
The clips I've seen.
From the videos and things I've heard people say, I don't know. It's just it feels like there's not that same magic. Like with Breath of the Wild, like you needed to play that, you know. But like, fam, what are we doing? You're right. Like, what?
This is so like funny, and the clip isn't even about it. It's like there's no music in this section either. And I was looking at this like, what the heck? It's like bloop, bloop, bloop.
You're right. I'm playing music on stream. Oh, wow.
Binanza was great. I heard those. I played it a bit actually.
Wait, is this seriously true? Wait.
What?
Nintendo Land says, sorry, I put the wrong camera on screen. I'm sorry. Nintendo Land says this. I saw apparently you have to scan the bike amiibo to get a radio.
Oh, during the desert. Yeah.
That's seriously obnoxious with Nintendo. Yeah, so after researching, the bike amiibo gives you skins for the bike, and the Samus amiibo gives you essentially a jukebox. Nintendo is so freaking stupid sometimes. So if you want audio, you have to pay extra for an amiibo.
You have to buy a physical.
You have to buy a physical statue to scan to get a radio in the game. That is the most unhinged thing. Can you just imagine for us? Let's rewind the clocks a little bit. Ubisoft comes out with the Black Flag remake. If you want shanties while you're singing, you need to go buy a physical statue that has a DLC code to get the music. Everyone would rightly say that's insane. But for music while riding through an empty desert, you have to pay for an amiibo statue?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What? Okay, that's unbelievable. That's crazy, man. Wow. That's I'm sorry. That took my breath away. That's don't give them ideas, Luke. Yeah, sorry.
I
Eve is
see
like, wait a
Luke
minute, he's
Stevens
onto
clip
something.
incoming.
Eve's like, hold on, I'll call my son. Yeah, he's gonna love this. We'll turn it into an NFT. I don't know why my Eve Guillemot voice turns into Michael Jackson
Oh,
after a
by
few
the
seconds.
way, just got confirmation from the Prince of Persia Twitter account that it won't be at the Game Awards.
Oh, okay. But
That is
we've not
interesting.
gotten confirmation that Black Flag won't be.
Yeah, but that game is not announced yet, so they won't say
True.
whether or not. But
Yeah, that thing we haven't told you about is not gonna be there.
yeah. Or maybe Ubisoft will come out. I mean, they won't, but maybe be like, yeah, we will not be at the Game Awards. Look forward to blah blah. But we will see.
That's crazy. Okay, well, well, I don't know. I'm going into this also not thinking too hard about the Game Awards because I also love the surprises. Last year, I was on a plane when the Game Awards was happening, so I missed out on all the fun of the Witcher 4 reveal and all that.
I mean, they stream it everywhere. Did they not stream it to your plane device?
I tried to watch it on the plane actually, but it was not great. Some of the planes are getting Starlink now, and apparently that's very good on the plane, but this one did not really have it. So I landed and was like, saw The Witcher 4 was announced. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? It was okay. I was in New York City to play KCD 2, so there was a good reason to be there. Of all the reasons to not see the Game Awards,
To be fair, though,
It's a good
next
reason.
time you should probably say, "Yo, let's do the event a day late." I think that event could have been like a day later, right, without issue, and you could have still watched the Game Awards.
realistically, probably. I think for me, it actually worked out really well because I was in Orlando at Universal Studios on vacation, and then we got contacted that they were going to be in New York City to do this KCD2 preview, and they'd like for me to come. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because like I leave to go home on Friday, and the event was on Friday or whatever day it was, and they said, well, you could just come and then leave the next day. Like we could thread the needle on it. So I left from vacation in Orlando. My family flew home. I flew to New York City, stayed in a hotel, went and played KCD2 all day, and then hopped on a plane and flew home. And then the Game Awards happened that night. But it was very, very, you know, I like to be whiny, but it was actually a pretty remarkable time. I just missed out on the Witcher 4 reveal. But this year I'll be able to do it live. We'll do it live. I did receive an invitation to go to the Game Awards in person,
Sad.
but I shut them down. I said, no, thank you.
What?
No, I said, thank you, but I love you all dearly. It's not a great fit for me this year, but maybe next year. We're going to co-stream it instead.
Yeah. No, I think that's still fine. I'll be there. I'll be watching. I'll
You better
be
believe
clapping.
half of
If
our view time.
Aloy is there, they
Dude,
will
he's
cut
gonna.
the camera.
We're just
better.
gonna hear a random.
Oh my god, that's really bad. I should not have said this.
You better believe, like, if the show is 2 hours long, my react is going to be 4 hours long because it's just going to be freezing every crowd shot looking for you in the audience. So you have to, like, send a picture from your seat so we know where you are and we can try to spot you. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We'll
And
have
I'll
to
see, hey,
experiment.
yeah.
Like, if you have your phone on you, if there's a reveal, I've always been curious what the delay is like from when it happens on stage to when it's actually like streamed. So maybe we experiment and like when something happens, you send a Discord message and I can be like, okay, that just happened. There it is on screen. Or maybe it's like 5 minutes later. I don't know, but we can experiment with
Yeah,
that.
okay, then we should, yeah. If like one of the, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Secret dance move says Luke should have been there, nominated as content creator of the year. I will never pretend to be on that level. And frankly, I think the burnt one deserves all of the attention. So I'm rooting for the burnt one, and I recommend you all vote for the burnt one. May his skin be salty and lightly toasted.
I usually look at the list and like, no, only one person or something, or sometimes nobody. So
Same. It's tricky because it's like, I remember when PewDiePie was really, really big. You know, he's got 100 million subs or whatever, and like he's still not nominated for anything. And it's like, okay, it's like, what are we? And it's always like you said, it's usually people you've never heard of. So like, who cares? It's not. Like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I think Burnt Peanut was saying he was considering going live and he was going to wear a full peanut outfit that he had made, but he wasn't sure if he was going to go yet. So we'll see. Who knows?
Hmm.
Who knows?
You would think that they invite you, right? And if you are nominated, at least.
I think they invite you. I don't know if they fly you out or if they pay for you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
I mean,
I've
there
never
are
been
only
nominated.
5 people nominated. Yeah, 6.
I'd have to imagine like they could get away with not paying for it because it's like you're gonna win an award, or you might. So fly yourself out, loser. But I don't know. Either way, it's gonna be
Would cool,
fascinating.
though, if you could get like Kojima to accept your award or something. Like
Yeah.
if you have like really good contact with one of these very famous game developers, be like, okay, if I win game content creator, you take the award. That would be so fun.
That's the deal. And then you, after he touches it, he sends it to me. That's the deal.
yeah.
I need the fingerprints on it. Don't clean it. Oh, that's a good point, Pinheadry or Headlery. Thank you for that suggestion. Yes, you should wear a Where's Waldo outfit to make you easier to see in the crowd.
I think that will only make it harder. just look
You'll-
for a red suit.
Red suit. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be on the lookout. Well, it'll be very, very fun. It's been a joy, Mr.
Yeah,
Mr.
for
Jor,
sure.
as always. Thank you all
Yes.
for joining us live as well. I will say Mr. Beard very generously sent a 36, I think it's Qatari Real, I want to say is the currency, but he sent a very generous super chat. Unfortunately, a solid like half hour after we talked about the topic, he said, now that both of you are here, what's your opinion on the AC Shadows DLC? And we had already finished
wow.
talking about it. So
Yeah.
thank you for the super chat. I did see it. We did talk about it. And you're probably watching that part now because of the time shift. but still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Much love. We will see you guys soon. I'll be back on Friday with another stream, rocking and rolling, because we have some very interesting interviews from former employees talking about the one and only Todd Howard. So buckle up for that. It's going to be a good time. They're old. They're interviews from like 11 months ago, but I was recently suggested them, and it's a collection of a bunch of former employees talking about him and his process, and it's very
nice.
interesting. So we'll get it. We'll
Awesome.
get it. Much love, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Bye.